ability to maneuver here, but for the teams who maybe are looking in better spirits and better shape, the time to move is now. Skyjump and Mumsy will start their ascent towards the safe zone, and they won't be the only ones doing it either. You can see all the players starting to move on through now. But for the players who were positioned in the safe zone already, the opportunity now to open up and just get some more limbs. Teeny and Shark looking to farm here as players rotate their way on in.
Teeny and Shark, this is just brutal. Absolutely challenging every single player that's just been a little bit too late to the party. They have an excellent position to kind of just hold all of these duos at bay, really prevent them from traveling anywhere near their line of sight. And Swizzy actually going to be claimed in the mess here. Darkos and Minoru, you were just one step ahead. That little bit of an advantage, sometimes that's all it takes, especially in a meta like this one, Levin, where it feels like players can just disapparate in moments' notice. There's just so much aggression that's starting to really take place here, but Pixie now left in a very difficult position. He knows that he's just got to leave Swizzy to the wolves. He won't actually have an opportunity to look back and try to save his duo, and his loadout is looking grim. They are going to need some form of a refresh, and right there, that's all you need to see. The overdrive, sometimes working against you if the lobby just happens to be looking your way.
Yeah, with just the nature of the zone, so much water, so much flat open land, so many more line sights you're at risk of when making those types of rotations. Which is why if you're Thomas and Focus, you just get above the rest of the lobby and you ain't got to deal with any of that. I say get above the rest of the lobby, there is one team higher than them. Woza positioned on the other side.
Actually, a chance to look back and see just how well Thomas and Focus are kind of displaying their awareness. That's exactly what you want to see. A great defensive metric. Also prevents Rep from having any real opportunity to try and challenge them on height. And now Skyjump and Mumsy tuning back in. They're still struggling though with their surge. Despite finding that early elimination back in Storm, it hasn't done them too many favors just now. This rotational pull just going so far away, but Skyjump with a very big shot there to land an elimination, but doesn't really have an opportunity to loot the body. Unfortunately, just has to keep it moving. They're just still so far away, and they know what awaits them the longer it takes. And Mumsy now forced to reconcile as a solo.
Yeah, props him from getting out initially, but ultimately this is always going to be a tough one. They don't have time to think, they just have to move. Mumsy on the move will pick one up along the way. And I mean, every little helps at this point. You'll just take whatever you can get.
It's so difficult to watch. Forced to drop into the water, but completely out of builds. The entire lobby just zoning in. So that'll be the end of lobby run number 1. But Shark, Teeny, they've done a great job at elevating themselves from where they were last seen. Focus and Thomas, though, still very much aware what's been taking place here. Now punishing Teeny for that rotation forward. They already on the front side of zone control, even at a slightly lower tier. Now they'll have the opportunity to ramp up, take back control of high ground, and see whether or not they continue to suppress the rest of this lobby. And any bit of momentum that players had started to try and use to sort of ascend forward, it's going to be very difficult to maintain. Thomas and Focus, they are looking very healthy on height. Shark, Teeny, they had to pause and heal. Bound to use up a decent amount of their resources, but still, not deterred. They'll head right back to front side. Seems like Teeny and Shark are adamant on trying to control height.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard, man. With the things Thomas is doing with that Stinger SMG right now in this lobby, anybody trying to take their height off of them is gonna be in for a world of hurt. But it looks like both of our premier teams in this lobby are looking for the one and done. They don't want to play any more games after this one. So that battle for height will continue. Chino and Pablo, they ain't quite worried about the height just yet, but they're looking strong as the moving zones continue.
So many players still trying to make sure they can have some semblance of control towards that front side of zone. Hero and Walks playing a little bit more towards the back, but Chino with an excellent shot here. Just a perfect punish onto the deal, and unfortunately, Chino, Pablo, that's the exact sort of refresh that they were hoping for. Just buys them a little bit more time to replenish some of their shields, but Shark, Teeny, they are just tunneling non-stop on this lower layer. Eventually, someone is going to have to contend with the amount of space control that they've managed to build up here, but they're running low on mats. If they want to properly continue challenging, they're going to have to find another set of eliminations, and obviously Everyone is trying to secure that victory royale, but Chino, Pablo, they might be the ones to ultimately take over on the low ground.
Yeah, time is running out for Shark and Teeny, and so you see Teeny trying to force the issue towards Pablo on front side low. Pablo, though, has the HP to fend him off for just a moment, and we'll see what these two can do with their backs against the wall. They will make and open up the right edits, can't quite connect to anything. And so, again, as this lobby continues to thin out, it just looks like a better and better situation for Focus and Thomas up above.
More than content to sort of let these lower layers cannibalize themselves for them as Teeny. Oh no, Wox has lost Kiro in the fold, so now Wox just scrambling, trying to look every which way, but there's just too many bodies surrounding him. Waza claims Wox, then gets cleaned up. Teeny and Shark, though, they might just be the ultimate victors of the low ground. It's a solo Pablo Wingu. We've seen him in this position before, and whether or not he can actually overcome it, it's going to be a very difficult task. He's still got two relatively healthy duos to contend with, but Focus and Thomas, this looks like their game to bring home.
They have not had to do much. With the way those zones pulled below, it just forced everyone into each other, and they'll look to try and make that happen one more time. Pablo will look to be a spoiler to Teeny and Shark. They have to deal with him first before they look up on height. They need anything that they can squeeze out of him to keep them in this one. Shark running around with just no builds remaining, and he's trying to get the elim while dodging the pressure from above. And I don't know how much longer he can do it for. The tree allows him to survive, and so now the 2v1 against a Shark with no builds, and you've got to think that Focus and Thomas will do it, but Shark hits hard, he hits heavy, and so it's never over until the final shot connects. Shark up against Focus now. Who will hit the crucial shot? Shark dancing around the storm line. He's trying to find the angle, trying to find the right opportunity. He has the builds now to play around with this one, and it's not going to be an easy finish here, Taco.
Battle of the new era, that's for sure, but Focus, he's trying to make sure that they maintain that 2 versus 1 advantage, just immediately taken away from them. But Shark looking to play spoiler, whether or not he's actually got the gusto to pull it out, though. Still buying a little bit more time, making sure that he's on as much even footing as possible. Both of these players down to their last final builds. Focus still looming overhead, crouching up, but just no advantages in sight. And Shark trying to break everything surrounding him just to see whether or not he could squeeze out an additional build here. Finally gonna try to go up. Focus with an excellent block there to prevent Shark from challenging him outright, but Focus, he still knows they've got to try and get the job done. He might have the health advantage, but they're both completely out of builds. Shark stuck on these lower layers, forced to start trying to make his way through some of these pre-existing builds. Not only that, but the storm just ticking away at his HP bar. Focus only needs to connect a single shot to bring down Shark, but he knows just how dangerous this position could really be. In fact, he's not willing to take it to risk. He'll let the storm handle it for him, and just like that, Focus and Thomas, they are out of here and headed straight for the Major 2 Finals Battle Bus.
And I know we said this is Heat 1, but that might have just been a preview of what you can expect in next week's Grand Finals. It's going to be Focus and Thomas that secure our first spot, and what a way to do it as well. Frankie, Minnie, Takata, what do you make of that one?
Well, I, for one, am living for the hydration break meta, because we've seen heal-offs before, but actually seeing this 1v1, I was transported back to the player room in Düsseldorf, seeing the pros go 1-to-1 and getting to see those two play cat and mouse, having their pauses, not panicking, and just giving us top quality Fortnite. Mini Miner, what a way to open the first game.
Yeah, really great from Thomas and Focus. I mean, it's nice to see them picking up the first game victory out. They did it last major as well in the very first heat, so it's nice to see them sort of replaying that, I guess you could say. And yeah, it's a team that we'd expect to qualify through into the grand finals. I do think it was a bit of a misplay from them, though, with Thomas HD going down. It's like you have those chug barrels, you have those, you have the player advantage. It's like surely with the Chug Jugs, you don't want to be dropping down and then, of course, trying to take that 1v1, but ultimately, Focus is the one that closed it out, Scar.
Yeah, it was closer than it should have been in the final moments, but leading up to those last moving zones, they had control a majority of this match. They were always healthy, always had mats, didn't have to take risky fights to get refreshes and recuperate loot. I mean, they were basically in control the whole time until that final moment where it got a little nervous, but the deja vu came through. They won the first game in their heat last major. They won the first game in their heat this major, automatically qualifying themselves straight to the finals, where in last major they got 4th, and funny enough, Sharktini got 5th, right by them on the leaderboard. So very funny way to close this one out, but it was definitely the right play doing the heal off there.
It's going to be really exciting to see if other big names are now going to be stepping up into their place and taking the next victory royale. The fact that we got Shark and Teeny in that last 1v1, Pablo clutching 3rd for the duo. I mean, I can't wait to talk about what these big runners and riders were doing. We do have to take a break before we can do that. But Mini Miner, just one more thing on Thomas and Focus before we go. This map, it's incredibly congested. It feels claustrophobic almost in terms of the drop spots. It looks like duos, they've got places to themselves. Thomas and Focus, they are not inhabiting anymore. They're tiny little island in Heatwave Harbor. Do you think any duo is going to move into that spot despite it being so small?
Yeah, you have to imagine so. A lot of teams will then go into that drop. It always happens in these heats. It always happens where a lot of maybe the smaller teams will then try and go there as well. Maybe we'll have 2 teams. Who knows?
Who knows? Let's go to a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the other duos in the lobby.